If you open a modern map of Western Australia, you will notice something haunting. In the middle of the vast, red expanse of the Pilbara, there is a massive 12,000-acre void. No postal code, no name, no road labels. According to official records, nothing is there. It is a digital blank spot, a cartographic ghost. But if you drive deep into the desert, past the rusted restricted area signs and the faded road closed barriers, you will find a reality that refuses to be deleted. A house, then another, an entire street of suburban homes standing silent in the heat. The hospital is still standing, its corridors filled with dust. The schoolyard is still there, the swings unmoving. Even the streetlights remain, their glass bulbs clouded, frozen in a world that ended decades ago. This city was not destroyed by fire or flood. It did not collapse from poverty or a sudden evacuation. This city was erased on purpose. It was systematically uninvented by the government, because the very ground beneath it became a 30-year death sentence. This is the story of Wittenoom, the town the world tried to delete. In the 1930s, the world believed it had found a miracle buried in the rugged mountains of the Northwest. It was called Crocidolite, but history remembers it by a deadlier name, blue asbestos. At the time, asbestos was seen as a wonder material, the magic mineral of the industrial age. It was fireproof, indestructible, and cheap. To the mining giant CSR and the ambitious politicians of the era, Wittenoom Gorge looked like a ticket to endless prosperity. By the 1950s, a full town had been carved out of the red rock. Thousands of people moved there from all over the world, lured by high-paying jobs and the promise of a fresh start. It looked like the pinnacle of the Australian dream. Children rode bicycles through sun-drenched streets, families picnicked near the cool waters of the gorge. On weekends, the football team played on dusty fields, while the cinema ran the latest Hollywood films. And everywhere was blue powder. The mine produced so much waste that the company didn't know what to do with it. They called it tailings. Instead of storing it, they gave it to the town. They paved roads with it. They spread it on playgrounds. They used it to insulate homes, nurseries, and the hospital. It looked harmless, like sand. Children played in giant blue dunes near the mill, coming home coated from head to toe. Parents watched them dig with bare hands, never realizing they were watching their children play in a graveyard. But the tragedy of Wittenoom wasn't an accident. It was a choice. As early as 1948, doctors warned that fiber levels were dangerous. By the early 1950s, the state's health commissioner said the dust could cause permanent lung damage. The warnings were filed away, dismissed as alarmist, never shared with families. While the company counted profits, the town breathed blue gold. To understand why Wittenoom had to be deleted, you have to understand the physics of the killer. Blue asbestos fibers are shaped like tiny, jagged needles. When inhaled, they hook into the lungs. The body cannot dissolve them. The lungs cannot expel them. They stay forever. And then, they wait. Doctors call it a long-tail killer. It doesn't kill in days, it kills in decades. 20 years, 30 years, even 50. By the 1960s, the Wittenoom cough echoed through the town. Healthy men in their 40s were gasping for air. Then their wives died, women who had never worked in the mine but had shaken dust from work clothes for years. Then came the children. Those who played in the blue playgrounds grew up in other cities, only to be diagnosed with mesothelioma, a cancer so aggressive that most victims die within months. Some children died before they were ever diagnosed. Even short-term visitors were later found sick. In 1966, the mine closed, not because of deaths, but because it was no longer profitable. The town remained. New people even moved in, believing the danger was gone. They were wrong. Every windstorm lifted fibers back into the air. Every car stirred needles from the roads. By the early 2000s, the government reached a grim conclusion. They could not clean Wittenoom. Bulldozing it would create a toxic cloud. Burning it would poison the air. So they chose erasure. Electricity was shut off. Water was cut. Mail service stopped. Road signs were removed. The town was deleted from maps. If you mailed a letter there, it came back stamped, "Address does not exist." But people remained. For them, Wittenoom wasn't poison. It was memory. Lorraine Thomas, known as the Queen of the Ghost Town, lived there alone for nearly 40 years. No store, no police, no doctor, only wind and dust. She stayed until 2022, when the government finally forced her out. The population became zero. The plan now is to let Wittenoom collapse into the desert. Roofs will cave in, walls will fall, dust will bury the fibers. But the damage is not finished. Experts estimate that more than 2,000 people connected to Wittenoom will ultimately die from asbestos-related disease. Deaths are still occurring today. The town is gone, but its legacy is still being written in hospital wards. Why not destroy it? Because demolition would kill again. So Wittenoom remains untouched, a preserved crime scene, a sealed warning, a monument to profit over people. There is something deeply unsettling about how Wittenoom ended. A city doesn't need war to disappear. It only needs a mistake and paperwork. Today, the sun still beats down on its empty streets. The signs fade. The roads go nowhere. It is a city that was erased, but never truly gone. The next time you see a blank space on a map, look closer. Some places aren't lost. They're hidden. And they were hidden for a reason. If you want to uncover more stories of the world's forgotten places, subscribe to the Lost World Project. And tell me in the comments, was erasing this town the right thing to do? Or should it have remained as a warning for the future?